And if for some reason Tim doesn't show up, someone else, you guys should elect someone to run the meeting. So we can find we have someone else do it.
Okay, I haven't really checked my emails to see what the agenda was, but anyways, I was on vacation last week, and all right, I now am looking at it. All right, if you guys want to start, we can do so. So basically, based on the agenda items that I've seen in the emails, looks like the main items were like 1.7 burn down and 1.8 items. And 1.8 items are mostly around, well, according to David's emails, are mostly around priority API, preemption, and eviction work. So I am not very much up to date on the burn down for 1.7, but we can briefly, or maybe not so briefly, talk about priority API and preemption, because those are the stuff that I'm working on. So as far as the work itself, the API work, basically the PR to add these fields to the API is already sent out. There is a PR sent out a while ago. There were quite a few comments on it, although the main bulk of the code was very small, basically just adding a couple of fields and adding the validation and tests for it. But it looks like people have agreed on, so we are gonna hopefully soon merge it. And after that, I'm gonna write a preemption document. So the preemption that I have in mind, and we had actually a meeting with the Node folks, or SIG Node folks, a couple of weeks ago about how eviction should work, because that's the work that is going to also affect preemption. The reason that I'm saying that eviction on the node must be in sync with the preemption and the scheduler is the fact that we don't want to ping pong between these two. So if node eviction works completely differently than how preemption works, there is a chance that node evicts an item from the node, and the scheduler believes that that item should be scheduled back. So scheduler schedules it back on the node, and perhaps it may even preempt some other workloads or pods that node didn't preempt earlier or didn't evict earlier. I should use the right terminology for these two. So eviction is basically the work that node does to remove a pod from a node, and preemption is the work that the scheduler does to do the same thing, basically removing a pod from a node. We are using these two words to distinguish between the two. Anyways, back to what I was saying. These two, preemption and eviction, should work in sync to avoid the ping pong effect of node removing an item and a scheduler putting it back on the node. So what we have in mind for the eviction is that we are going to use priority as the highest weight in determining which pod should be evicted. And we are going to rectize based on usage above request. So probably we are going to use, this is not finalized yet, but probably we're going to use the percentage of usage above request. So whoever has the highest usage above request will be evicted first if it has the same priority as other jobs, other pods on the node. These are some of the ideas that we have. So we are going to use the same technique or the same method on the schedule as well for preemption. So basically, we are going to preempt the lowest priority pods on nodes, and we're going to break ties with usage above requests. As far as the document and the actual work concerned, I haven't written the document on the preemption yet. I will do so hopefully in the remaining weeks of June, and I am optimistic that we can get bulk of the code, at least the first version, in for 1.8. I'm happy to answer questions or concerns that you guys may have.
Bobby, Red Hat is actually interested in the preemption part. So if you need some help, I can, in terms of coding, I can work with you. Sounds
great. Yeah. So I guess I'm not going to, of course, write the code right now because I haven't written the document. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of discussions on the document. You know, the priority itself. I've written a small document, and you may have seen it already, that there are so many comments in it. It's close to 200 now. But that one is relatively final now. I say relatively because I'm not sure if it's completely final. But anyways, that's more or less decided. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of discussions around preemption as well. But once it's finalized, I'll be very happy to get some help. Sure. Okay, any other questions? If not, we may want to, or if you have any other topics to discuss, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we can basically cut this meeting short, and Tim hasn't joined. I don't have any other topics to talk about. So I have one topic that I want to talk about regarding 1.8. Sure. So it's related to the scheduler perf modular extensions that we have been working on, Jay and I have been working on for 1.7. So G. Merrick from Google has been helping us out for the code review part. I just want to get the SIG scheduling feedback on that. Let me post the pull request in here on Zoom. Okay. Did you add Kubernetes SIG scheduling review or whatever? I'm not a member yet, so I'm not able to mention any of the. Oh, I see. Jay can do so, I guess. Yeah. So unfortunately, Jay is not part of Red Hat anymore. So I'll try to get someone to. What do you call mention?
Yeah, I can help you, Ravi.
Yeah, sure. Avesh is here, I guess. So yeah, I can take help from Avesh to mention. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great, because that's the most reliable way of asking for help on the review process. Yeah.
So have you already sent PR to GitHub, or you're still?
Yeah, so I have already sent the PR. So Jimeric told he is not having bandwidth to review during 1.7. So I'm fine with it, even if this gets merged in 1.8. But I just wanted to have the the feedback of other people from SIG scheduling.
So this 1.7 is your PR only about bug fixing, or it's adding some new feature?
It's a new feature in terms of it's not going to touch the core scheduler code base, but the main idea here is how the predicates and priorities are going to play at some scale. Like if there are 200 labels and 300 labels on a node.
Yeah, the reason I am asking because for 1.7 the deadline, I think it's already passed, so I don't know it will be 1.7.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean I raised it long before the code freeze has started, but yeah. So
actually the idea is before code freeze, if your PR does not have approval and LGTM tags, then mostly
Right.
it's not going to make it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with it even if this does not make 1.7. I just, since we are discussing about the 1.8 features as well, I just wanted to mention this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am looking at the code right now. It doesn't seem to be like a huge code or huge change, so it should be fairly easy to review. If someone just adds the or mentions the Kubernetes SIG scheduling review or whatever that thing is, we will be able to review it in the next few days, hopefully.
Sure. So the main idea here is we are trying to simulate like the pod spec and node spec. We are mutating the pod spec and node spec to have the appropriate predicates and priorities, and then see if at scale if they are going to fail or if they're going to slow down and all that stuff. This is something that Jay wanted to do as part of the scheduling forensics for 1.7, but unfortunately we could not complete it within time. So we want to have it in 1.8. I just want to get the feedback from SIG on this.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I will hopefully take a look soon in the next couple of days or so.
Yeah, I just added that tag SIG scheduling PR, whatever it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Avesh. Thank you.
All right.
I think Tim has joined.
Tim joined? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late.
Okay, hi, Tim. So we already talked a little bit about our plans for 1.8, priority and preemption and eviction. I guess you wanted to also talk about burn down for 1.7.
Yeah, but there's a couple other items for 1.8 that I don't know if people have on the radar, like the daemon set modifications that folks have discussed. And there's some PRs going around that I haven't really dug into yet. I don't know what the take on that is. Is the idea of moving daemon sets to schedule using the main scheduler in scope for 1.8?
I would really like to see that. I don't know if people will have enough bandwidth to take care of it in 1.8. But that would be really helpful, because right now it looks like there is some other problems in daemon set scheduling, and there is a PR already sent out a while ago, and it needs rebase, and the author is busy. So what I'm worried is that we may do some work on fixing the current issues, and it will all be wasted efforts once we want to move everything to the scheduler. So maybe we should put some effort and do the move.
The one thing that concerns me is that the daemon set scheduling has been used as kind of a backdoor for folks to get some initial bootstrapping in place, because we don't have all the primitives percolated throughout the system in order to do proper bootstrapping, right? Like we don't have one-shot scheduling is not an official feature, that's an example, because people use daemon sets as a way to get around some of these things, right?
Right. Yeah, true. And but at the same time, I guess there are some roadblockers for moving scheduling of daemon sets to the scheduler. Like there is this other problem with marking nodes as not ready. You've seen that issue, right? So if there is a networking problem, then the whole node will be marked as a kubelet not ready or whatever that label is, and that prevents the scheduling of anything on it. So there are some of these roadblockers that should be removed before we can truly have it in the scheduler. That's what a little concerns concerns me a bit. I'm not sure if we can get all of those done in 1.8.
It'd be nice to have like if we priority sort the list for 1.8 of the most important items to address first. I know from a SIG cluster lifecycle perspective that I think we will start addressing the node tainting / network not ready issue. I don't necessarily know whether or not we will use the scheduler to solve some of these problems, or whether or not we'll fix it directly in the kubelet.
Okay. Okay, yeah, sounds good. So if we can come up with a list, it would be great. So who is gonna come up with the list? Who's gonna create that list?
Oh, I don't have bandwidth to do that right now.
Yeah. So yeah, is there anyone who can help with that, or has enough information to know what are the items? We haven't discussed them really thoroughly. There is a list of several items in that email thread about the agenda for this week's meeting. So a lot of those items are related to my work. I will do my best to get all of those in for 1.8, but I don't know a whole lot about other major features. It would be great if the owners themselves can at least send an email to us, and or whoever, I don't know, the leads who know what are the main items or important items that we want to have in 1.8. It would be great if we can just at least have an email thread listing all of them. Klaus has also sent an email about a few of these items, including this daemon set scheduling.
So Klaus has started working on this some time back. I'm not sure. I'm not following up the issue, but I can try talk to him or this week, and then if he can update the existing issues with his findings and the steps, I think I'll try to check with him and then get back.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and also there is this whole work on batch jobs for 1.8. Klaus is going to work on that. I don't know what the status is and whether he can get it in 1.8.
The general take was that that should be implemented outside of core. So, I mean, that was the thing we all agreed on, is that step 0, and 90% of it, whatever it entails, because he's going to have queues and whatnot, would be implemented outside of core using TPRs. And then if there's something that we need to push back into core, that we do that, you know, after a thorough evaluation.
I see. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So is there anything else we want to discuss?
Are there any items that are blocking for 1.7 release right now? Because I'm going to do a query this afternoon and maybe send to the list of what is the 1.7 list looking like right now with regards to.
Yeah, I don't have any items in mind, but yeah, we can have.
Actually, there is a flake which is related to node controller that has been there for a long time. I'm trying to fix that flake. I think it's part of the 1.7 milestone. So that could be blocking, I guess.
Yeah, but it's node controller. So
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like it's a scheduling problem.
You remember the stuff that was there in 1.6? It's part of both SIG scheduling and SIG node is the information that I got from that.
Can you send the link in the chat window?
Sure, I can do that. Yeah. I've just sent that in.
Okay. Okay, I can take a look at that one. See where it's at. It's the milestone set. Yeah, I'll take a look at the list, and I'll send. I'll do some queries and see what I find for the 1.7 list and send it to the mailing list.
All right, great. Thanks. All right. Anything else that anybody wants to discuss? All right, I guess we can take 35 minutes back. Tim, don't you have anything else?
Nope. I do
Okay.
not.
So, bye for now.